What's up, everyone? I just finished watching Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein movie, and I'm going to tell you guys my honest review and thoughts. And man, this might be Guillermo del Toro's best work. And that's saying a lot because this guy's filmography is off the chains. He's done everything from Pan's Labyrinth, which might be my very first movie that got me into Guillermo del Toro. He did Hellboy, Pacific Rim. He did that stop motion Pinocchio movie, The Shape of Water, the won him the Oscar. But I do think that this might be his My Way. So what I'm trying to say is, every artist has a song that puts them on kind of puts a stamp on what their style is and what they're made to do. Kind of like Frank Sinatra. His song is My Way. This is Guillermo del Toro's My Way. This film, it is everything that you want to see from a director. This puts a stamp on what he's like as a director, what kind of story he tells, and he's really good with these monster creature movies, and this is his film. Might be my top 3 favorite films of the year as of now. But before we get started on our deep review, guys, thank you for clicking on my YouTube channel, the Silos Film Club. Turn on your notifications, though. Hit the like and subscribe button so you guys do not miss a beat on any of the movie news. All right, guys, let's dive a little bit deeper on the Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. I'm not gonna lie, this might be his best work. This movie was emotionally impactful. This movie to me had a lot of things of relationship of a father and a son. If you guys, have a somewhat relationship with your dad, this kind of sets the bar of how relationships are with fathers and sons. Having a high expectation for your children, how you want your children to be, instead of like kind of letting them, be their own person. I feel like this had to do a lot of those tones, a lot of those tones. You see, the relationship of Victor Frankenstein, his dad, and how that gets passed on when he creates the monster, and then also this high expectation that his dad has for him too as well. It does have a lot of tones that a lot of young men deal with, and I thought they did that completely great. I thought they did that very spot on how you can pass that trauma down to your kids without even knowing, without even thinking about it. And I think that they did that very good. They tell you the movie in 2 different points of views. The first, Victor Frankenstein, how he grew up, and then the second of the monster. First, we get, Victor Frankenstein, his relationship with his dad and his mom. He was really close to his mom. His dad was a famous surgeon, a doctor, and he had these high expectations for his for his son Victor, and his dad was pretty hard on him, very old school hard on his son. Want him to be like this great doctor. They talked a lot about life and how they want to make life actually make life everlasting, and they do have a lot of things in this movie which they touch upon throughout the whole thing. But yeah, he has high expectations for his son, and you can also see that. So Victor Frankenstein has a brother. When he's about, I want to say about 10 years old, he ends up having a brother. His name is William. Blonde hair, blue eyes, just like his dad. Victor, dark hair, dark eyes. His mom the same way, and his dad treated him in a certain way just because of it, and it was very apparent in the movie. William, the brother, William was never a piece of crap to Victor or anything like that, but he did get treated a lot more well than Victor. Then you see how he evolves with Victor, and how he wants to beat life. That's kind of like the theme of the film too. He wants to beat life, and that's how he ends up creating the monster. He gets funding from so he ends up, they show him grown up. Him and Williams go their separate ways. Not necessarily because they're in bad terms, but pretty much they end up living separate lives. And Victor's on the quest to create this this monster, and he's coming up with these ideas. He comes up with this presentation. He comes I think he shows like the council or the government of the city that he is in, and Christopher Waltz is there, and he thinks that this guy's a genius. So Christopher Waltz is pretty much a guy that owns all these he owns all these like guns, and he owns a company for arsenal pretty much, and he pretty much funds Victor to create this to create this monster, the monster project. Then we get to the point where We have Williams come back into town. Mia Goth's character. I actually didn't even notice in the beginning. Mia Goth actually plays Victor Frankenstein's mom and the wife of his brother, William. And she does great because I didn't even notice it. And I think that's why he does have a little bit of a feelings for William's wife. But I do think that, the movie itself is beautifully shot. It is gorgeous, gorgeous. I wish I would have saw this in theaters. Gorgeous, gorgeous. The movie overall looks great. Everything seemed very practical. I know a lot of the sets were practical. The actual ship that they're on there, it is, it is a practical ship, but everything looked practical. A little bit CGI here and there, but everything pretty practical. It looked beautiful. The wardrobe, the set designs were spot on. This is top tier movie for it to be a Netflix production, but you can't go any different with Guillermo del Toro. The music and the score was actually one thing that surprised me a lot. It was very good. The sound was, spot on too as well. Then we get, Victor Frankenstein making the actual monster. That scene was pretty awesome and iconic too as well. And you see the evolution of Victor Frankenstein with the monster. It doesn't go great, because Victor Frankenstein does kind of treat him like his dad was treating him, but a little bit worse. Kind of is a piece of, he's kind of a piece of shit to the monster, because the monster, he's not that smart right away. He doesn't really catch on things that that Victor's asking him. All he knows is how to say is Victor, 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 and Victor gets very frustrated with him. Very, very frustrated. He has high expectations, just how his dad had high expectations with him. And, then we get the movie from the point perspective of the monster. Pretty much, you get, I don't want to spoil it too much on his little side quest on, on what he ends up doing on his evolution, if per se, but that whole side story that he has where, he kind of does his own thing for a bit of the movie. It is awesome. It is touching. It is very visually stunning too as well. Jacob Elordi does great as a monster. If you guys don't know that it was supposed to be Andrew Garfield that was casted out as a monster, but due to scheduling conflicts, Jacob Elordi came in and stepped into this role, and he did a phenomenal job. His body movements were great. His voice was great. He had this presence when he came on screen, and his eyes. There's a lot of emotion to Jacob Elordi's eyes that he portrays as a monster, and I thought it was spot on, very, very good. But his little, pretty much the monster's journey of his evolution of what he is meant to do. It's very touching too as well. I don't want to get too deep into what he ends up doing, because it is part of the journey of the film and is a little different. I know this is an adaptation of the Mary Shelley's book, but I think it's a little different. I've never read the book, but I have seen people talk about it, how it's somewhat different. But I do want to say, guys, that everyone did great with this. Mia Goth's acting was spot on. Jacob Elordi was great too as well. Christopher Waltz as the guy that funds the operation or the operation for them to create the monster. He was very good too as well. Oscar Isaac as Victor Frankenstein had this like Mick Jagger kind of Prince kind of vibe. He's very vibrant, very, very enthusiastic, and he did very good too as well. We do have more Frankenstein movies coming out. We have one that is directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal with Christian Bale. We have another one that Sebastian Stan is going to be in it. But I'm not gonna lie, guys, there's going to be a big shoes to fill. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but I honestly don't think that it's going to be pretty hard for them to top this movie. This movie is visually stunning. The story of it is very good. It is very heartwarming. The story moves pretty good too as well. It never feels like it was dragging for me at all. And just everything about the film was great. The ending of it just looked visually beautiful. And dude, it was very heartfelt. I almost wanted to drop a little tear if I'm being 100% honest, because you do feel for this monster and the evolution that this monster goes through. And very gruesome, very emotional, very heartfelt, beautifully stunning. The score was spot on. The acting was spot on. Hopefully this gets some Oscar buzz and love, because it definitely deserves it. It deserves it. it deserves all the love it can get. So I'm gonna give this movie, guys, a 10 out of 10. This movie was pretty great on from the beginning to the end. It was perfect, guys. I think this movie might be my top three of the year. We still have a couple movies, that we still have to watch until this year's over. But I do think this movie is up there for the top five movies of the year, at least for some people's list. And guys, I do recommend Frankenstein. I wish I would have saw this in theaters, but if you guys have not watched it, please give it a watch. It is a great film. It makes you appreciate human life a lot more and all humans as one. So I do think that this movie touched that tone too as well, guys. But that was my review for Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. I will see you guys next time.